Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
And listener, welcome to another edition of Inside Nigeria, where we're going to dissect prominent front page stories of Nigerian dailies. With me in the studio this morning is an Abuja-based public affairs analyst, Samaila Musa. Samaila, welcome to Leadership Podcast Studio.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure to have you this morning. And of course, as usual, viewers and listeners, we are going to start with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, The Leadership. The lead story: fallout of Supreme Court judgment. Osinbajo, APC governors, ministers explore safe options. Fallout of Supreme Court judgment. Osinbajo, APC governors, ministers explore safe option. Samaila, since last week, Supreme Court verdict on the Ondo governorship election, there have been back and forth about the legality of the Yobe State Governor Memala Buni-led caretaker committee of the APC. What do you think this safe option is? Because it seems the APC is in a dilemma as we speak.
Okay, first and foremost, the APC shouldn't have found itself in this mess in the first place, because you see, Nigerians, we always love to be lawless at all times. It has become a part and parcel of us that we know what is right. The same people who actually drafted the constitution or who put the law in place are the first set of people to actually violate it, And I believe the APC as a party have a legal department, who is saddled with the responsibility at looking into all these kind of issues. But of course, I mean, even though they will know, I want to believe that they knew this problem is there, but just like the normal culture of Nigeria, be like, come on, it doesn't matter. Is it not Nigeria? We can always get away with it.
That's the point.
Yeah. So, and I mean, luckily, it's actually backfiring and blowing up in their faces right now. But I wish they will do the needful on time before it's too late, because I mean, it's almost getting too late now. If the right people who should know how to cash in on this blunder will do that, because a Congress has been held already, which is going to create a very big mess eventually, because I mean, you held a Congress and the constitution is very, very specific as well. And the chairman of the party has been appointed for like a year now, and they knew this problem, I think around June. And this problem is still there, even up till now as we speak, a year after, and nothing is being done, So really, and the constitution, the Nigerian constitution is very, very, very clear about this thing, that a sitting governor cannot hold any other, I think section 183 of that, of the constitution saying a sitting governor cannot hold any other executive office in any capacity whatsoever, or a paid job in the long run. But you see, for a year, they are still doing this. And not that they are even willing, you understand, to say, oh, let's do the right thing. If not for this Supreme Court judgment that is making them to run helter-skelter. But I believe, because I heard from, reliable sources, some people are still hell-bent on saying, no, let him still remain there. For whatever reason, actually, I can't really tell.
All right, we will come back to this story later for our focal discussion. Let's move to the sister publication of the Leadership, the National Economy. These are business and newspaper. The lead story: Nigeria risk reduce oil production in 4 years over contentious petroleum industry bill. Nigeria risk reduce oil production in 4 years over contentious petroleum industry bill. The writer is saying output could drop by 250,000 barrels by 2025. The problem about the passage of the petroleum industry bill by the National Assembly. There have also been back and forth about the provision for host community, whether they should have 5% or 3%. And again, there's also the controversial issue of 30% stake provision for oil exploration in our frontier basin. What is your take about the petroleum industry bill? as passed by the National Assembly?
Okay, you see, it's Nigeria. Sometimes some of the things are quite very funny. We know some of these things have been the issue where there have been agitations, especially in that part of the country. And so I don't really know why we keep going back and forth. We know what's the right thing, but because either the businessmen or the politicians are conniving, because I also heard from reliable source how one of our leading businessmen in Nigeria are moving millions of dollars into the National Assembly for his own selfish interest. You understand? So we keep having these issues back and forth. We know the right thing to do. Some people are actually at the receiving end of whatever that is happening in that region. If you are exploring petrol from that place, there should be some priority that says, okay, we understand that you cannot go to farm, you cannot do this, you cannot do X and Y. So because of that, this is in place. And if we want to be serious about this, it's something that can be solved once and for all, because we don't need to be going back and forth. Okay, in the long run, you go and bribe some people, you muzzle them, and then your will be done. And then 2-3 years after, we're still back to this problem. So really, I feel the National Assembly should be up and doing in this regard to, I mean, I know they've been throwing so many parties around in the name of bringing the stakeholders together, because you see different committees being inaugurated to look into this, look into that. But in the long run, sometimes they have a mindset of what they want to achieve. They're just calling those parties, I mean, jamborees all around, just to show the people that, yeah, we actually consulting with the stakeholders. But really, they're not really addressing the main issue when it comes to this. And that needs to be looked into once and for all.
So, Samaila, the earlier we address the PIB issue, the better for Nigeria.
The better for
because
Nigeria.
a situation where your oil output is down by 250,000 barrels.
And this is an economy that's
solely on oil,
on oil,
monocultural economy.
Really,
so it will affect the economy. Yeah. All right, let's move to the next newspaper, the Daily Sun. The lead story on the Daily Sun: COVID-19, 30 died in 7 days in Lagos. COVID-19, 30 died in 7 days in Lagos. Samaila, a lot of Nigerians don't believe there is COVID-19, and people are dying. And we have gone back to our old ways. No more social distancing. No more compulsory use of nose masks, and other precautionary measures as outlined by the authorities. How do we go out of this?
You see, the problem is actually it's two ways, both from the masses and the government angle. You see, because at the point, a lot of people, when COVID started, a lot of people didn't believe. But it got to a stage where people started believing. But because of the corruption that Nigeria, you understand, is known for, really made a mess of the whole thing. So the people who were almost converting to believing now say, oh, we said it before. It's all carried. You understand? It's all about the dash. This is another ploy to just siphon money, because that was what it turned out to be. Even though COVID is real, it has always been real. But in this part of the country, we saw how even the NCDC itself, you fail woefully. We're in a situation where a minister come on air to tell us how that some billions were shared. I mean, food was to the tune of those billions during lockdown, shared to kids in areas where they don't even have address. Because when you look at those slums, there is no any visible address. The teachers don't know where some of them live, not to talk of the pupils, and you mentioned that you spend this amount of money. So really, it eroded confidence in the whole system, and people begin to say, oh, look, come on, it doesn't even exist in the first place. But is this real? And I mean, sadly, another variant has been introduced now.
Variant.
You understand, which is more deadly than what we used to know. So really, it's unfortunate, because Nigerians are always, we have always been known with this lackadaisical attitude about things, and everybody's going about their daily activities. It was just like what happened during the upsurge of HIV/AIDS. At the point people feel, oh, come on, I don't need any condom. I mean, it doesn't exist. It's not real. How many people do you know that have gotten it? That you don't know someone who has gotten it doesn't really. It doesn't exist. So I think the government can also help the people to be very transparent. The agencies who are saddled with this responsibility to be transparent with whatever they are doing, so that it will actually build confidence in the citizenry to know that, okay, what they are saying is actually real.
But Samaila, even if the government agencies are seen not to be transparent, which may not be necessarily the truth, is it not a matter of personal responsibility for you and I to actually take our health seriously? While on the part of government, I also believe they can scale up vaccination. Just yesterday, the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 announced that America has donated 4 million doses of Moderna vaccine, to Nigeria. Have you been vaccinated?
I haven't actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't. And the reason why I didn't actually, because we keep hearing, you read so many versions of it. Oh, this happens to this happens to this. So sometimes you just want to take some caution to say, well, let me see how true this thing, because you don't even know what to believe. I mean, Nigeria is a country where sometimes you don't really know, so you are confused. This is why they say, oh, there was a time people were putting
magnetic.
become magnetic, and it became viral. So you don't know what to believe.
They are all fake news. I have been vaccinated for the past 2 months.
Okay, that's a good one. I'm actually looking towards
double. I mean, what do you call it? The 2 doses. I'm taking my 2 doses.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I saw a lot of people, especially who didn't take it seriously, because summer is around and they needed to travel and all of that.
And they have to go and do it because of the certificate to travel.
You understand? So it's a good thing to do, and I'm also looking forward to actually taking mine.
But then started dying in 7 days in Lagos is very, very disturbing.
It's very disturbing.
Really, much more.
Very disturbing,
honestly.
because you don't even know how much number is out there again.
Exactly.
Who are also already
These
carriers.
are the ones that the authorities can only record. There are the ones that died in the villages and the rest.
Yeah.
Now let's move to the next newspaper, The Nation newspaper. The Nation has its lead story, Osinbajo's team working on ways out of APC's legal ditch. Osinbajo's team working on ways out of APC's legal ditch. This is the same thing about the leadership of this story today. The vice president has been saddled to make sure that the APC benefits from the import of the Supreme Court justice in order that it will not boomerang. A stitch in nine. A stitch in time, they say, saves 9. But that is if APC, we are told, hits to that idiom.
Well, except if the APC has another agenda, which is totally to bullshit the judiciary and say whatever happens, our will be done in the long run. But if they want to go by, the constitution, even the constitution of their party also stipulates that the section 17.4 of the APC constitution says that it really was very clear on who should call for a NEC meeting.
NEC meeting, yes.
You understand, and which we can see from the outcome of that Supreme Court judgment. It is very clear that Buni has been out of that. He can't, because if they go ahead again, whatever decision taken will actually be null and void in the long run, because it means you're putting something on nothing in the long run. He does not have the constitutional right to do that. So thank God. Well, if they want to do the right thing, I think it's now. But of course, that's not to say they can go home to sleep, because the Congress that they held is also unconstitutional, going by different, and it's
also contentious.
Yeah, it's very contentious, and even that was marred with so many controversies across so many states, crisis, and all of that. So, and I know very soon the legal team of APC will be very busy with a lot of work before them.
So I am not surprised that they're actually having these problems, because, like you said, the NEC, the caretaker committee, as exemplified by the Supreme Court, is illegal. And again, one funny thing, as reported by Leadership, which is also reflected on the front page of the Nation newspaper, was that why attempt to actually stop the Saturday's Congress failed, was that Buni, who is the chairman of the caretaker committee, could not be reached until past 12 midnight. That shows lack of cohesion.
Really,
of the governing party.
That was just a flimsy excuse. You can't say that to anybody and he'll believe you. I mean, at the level of the vice president, I mean, we're talking about the president.
So it was
the presidency, and then you're talking about a sitting governor who should be reached part-time. Anytime, you understand, and especially maybe poor masses may not be able to reach him when they want to, but not at that level. Really.
Or him
you understand? Not at that level. If whatever he happens to be in the world, it should be reachable. So really, it was just a flimsy excuse to say, well, we couldn't resolve. We had our internal issues. But now we realize, well, we still have to be one as a party. But that's just what they say. But you can't tell that to anyone, I believe.
All right, Samaila, we need to take a short break. And when we come back, viewer and listener, we will delve on the rest of the stories on the front page of the most influential newspaper in Nigeria, The Leadership. Welcome back. I'm still in the studio with an Abuja-based public affairs analyst, Samaila, Musa. Samaila, thank you for being with us. Thank you for your time. Now we're back for our focal discussion with leadership. On the below the masthead of leadership today, below the masthead is another issue which is trending since the ban of Forex to the Bureau de Change operators. And now we have a Forex. Central Bank of Nigeria assures customers of banks' compliance. Central Bank of Nigeria assures customers of banks' compliance. Allays fears over domiciliary accounts deposits. I know you have a domiciliary account. Am I right?
Yes, I do actually.
So is this a good news that the CBN is actually telling the public, don't worry, the bank will be on top of their game?
Yeah, well, it's a good news, but to what extent that will take effect is what nobody can tell yet, because this is Nigeria,
This is Nigeria.
Yeah, so, most of the statements sometimes just end at the level of making a statement. So they end up being political statements most often. But we are hoping that it will be followed up to the latter, such that, they will monitor it to make sure that the banks, or maybe they're probably going to be a monitoring team to make sure, because you see, even the bankers themselves are actually, their hands are also soiled in the mess. They end up, you see some of the backdoor transactions that will be going on simply because this thing is now in their hands.
So what's the CBN accused of the BDCs may actually
come back same thing. I mean, the BDCs and the bankers, they know each other very well. They work in sync at all times. So really,
they both engage in the round tripping.
So it might happen if it's not being properly monitored.
So I think what the CBN needs to do is actually step out its game and make sure that the regulatory mechanism is very strict.
Yes.
No fear or favor.
Yes. And I think maybe they will have to also bring in the NDIC, because I know there's a department in NDIC that is a banking supervision department, that can also help a great deal, such that, okay, we now have about 2-3 bodies involved, independent of each other,
watching each other.
Yeah, watching each other,
All right, let's go down to the promos below the list story. The first story is another, developing story in Nigeria, a trending issue. DCP Tunji Disu takes over from Kyari as IRT head. IRT is Intelligence Response Team of the Nigerian Police. You are aware of this matter involving Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari. Kyari on Sunday was recommended for suspension, and later on the same Sunday, the suspension was approved by the Police Service Commission. And yesterday, Monday, 24 hours later, he was replaced. That sound as guilty as charged.
Well, you see, there are some of the things the police will not come out to tell you, but if actually this decision can be so swift, it means there's a lot going on. I mean, they are also, I believe they're also not stupid when they really want to work. You know, if they have intelligent people there who knows the implication of all these things. But you see, IRT, I think it was just a name given after NSAS protest, right?
No, it has been there.
It has been
a special unit for the IGP.
For the IGP.
For a swift operation.
Yeah,
it has always been there.
Because we used to know that Kyari, you know, is of the
SAS in Lagos.
In Lagos.
Before it was moved to Abuja.
You know, but you see, the point is, I pray a lot is going to change after this. People will learn the lessons they need to learn from this. Because you see, Yahoo boys were more or less the cash cow to SAS at the time. And that's why people see a lot of harassment in the cities where they stop you, they look at the way you're dressed, or to see you with laptops. It's actually not really something they want to deliberately do, but they feel once you have a Yahoo boy in your kitty, you are made. You understand? So, you know, that Hush Puppy became friends with Kyari. It's just e.g., it's just an example of what goes on across board in that regard. You understand? So I hope that you know, people who are also in this position, or people like Tunji Disu, will actually learn a lot of lessons to know that in Senna climbs, you shouldn't even be seen. I mean, back growing up, even we as bloody civilians that we don't have any training first, I mean, in that regard, they used to tell us, mind the people you mingle with. Tell me your friend, and I say, you understand? So I don't know how a trained police officer or trained police officers will now be, you know, romancing people who have already been known worldwide to be criminals. A police officer should be advising you that, but come on, please don't be moving with this person at all. Not the other way around. Not the other way around. So really, I just pray that our police, you know, will be learning from this, because I mean, the guy worked so hard to some extent. But of course, this, even though I know this is not the only allegation, but you know, this actually bring to bear, you know, some of those things that are hidden under, to say, look, there's a lot to this whole thing.
Well, my concern, like you said, is beyond the Hush Puppy saga.
Yes. So
this might be an eye-opener for us. There could be other similar cases right here in Nigeria.
There are a lot of them, actually. There are a lot of them. I mean, even before now, so many petitions have been written against Kyari. He was swept under the carpet. And that's to tell you, the guy is also not alone. He was greasing some palms at some level that says, come on, don't mind them. We're there for you. You know, so a lot of things. And I'm sure if what we heard about Hush Puppy in America, that, you know, is also looking for a soft landing, he must be willing, he must be committed to say, I'm ready to divulge more.
Of course.
You understand? So, and a lot of heads are going to roll in the long run.
Well, we keep our fingers crossed and see what become of this matter. Yeah. The next story, doctor strike cripples activities in public hospitals. Doctor strike cripples activities in public hospitals. Samaila, this is happening at the time the president is in the UK to attend a summit, a global summit on education, and at the same time attend to his health. Now, what become of Nigerians?
You see, it didn't just happen at the time when he was there. He knew the strike was coming on before he traveled. And I don't understand the logic behind that. You want to go for treatment somewhere, and the doctors in your country, as the number one citizen, say they are going on strike. You should know that the same way you are also caring for your own health that you want to jet out, there are so many other people who don't have any other option than to stay back, but who is going to treat them? It should be a national emergency issue to say, oh, look, I can't even go anywhere. These are some of the issues that some other presidents around the world will jet back home because this is happening. It'd be like, oh, what treatment am I taking overseas if my own poor masses cannot be attended to health-wise? So why should I be here? You know, and unfortunately, this has also been happening over and over again. In the space of 2-3 years, I can't count the number of times the doctors have gone on strike.
Exactly.
Our government should be up and doing in that regard. This is the areas you can't even toy with. You can toy with maybe schools It's
No,
even
you can't even try with school.
let's even assume, because I mean, it's people who are alive that wants to go to school.
Yeah.
So health is a priority that you shouldn't even let it go for one day, because so many people are going to die. Accident victims are being abandoned in different hospitals across the country. You know, some people who are not supposed to die, and we have seen this happen over the years, where people who ordinarily shouldn't die if there is proper care, but because some people are on strike, they were abandoned. Some at the gate of the hospital, they don't even allow them to enter because some people are on strike. And yet, this has been repeatedly, going on in Nigeria, and everybody acts like it doesn't matter, because the people who actually are supposed to address it have an option to jet out of the country to go treat themselves. And this is quite unfortunate that we're having this issue. And so if you look at some of the grievance of the doctors, is even the COVID-19 hazard, palliative, totally denied them. And these are people who put their lives on the line. There are some issues, even if you can't address all the issues, there are some areas that shouldn't be heard of. Because if we say we are budgeting trillions to address COVID, and yet the people who are at the front liners in this really are not getting it. So who are the people you're spending the money on?
Samaila, for want of time, we take one more story to end this program edition for this morning. And it's also another trending story. Reject APC, PDP in 2023. Jega tells Nigerians. Reject APC, PDP in 2023. Jega tells Nigeria. Professor Jega, yes, is the immediate past INEC chairman, and a former VC, a former ASU national president, and intellectual for that matter. Even though both parties have rejected his verdict, the APC is saying, no. Jega is launching his political career in a mushroom party, while PDP is saying it's an unpardonable comparison, that you don't compare light and darkness. What is your take? Is Jega right? All the political parties are right?
Well, you see, the first thing is that in Nigeria, it is absolutely impossible for a new party to come just 2 years to election and you think you want to make any meaningful impact. It's practically because, I mean, Nigeria is a very unique country. You can't compare it with what happens in other places that you feel the people just want to do it because it is right. The timing is too short for any party to emerge now and be thinking maybe they just want to have some few senators and House of Rep members if actually he can get people with his kind of reputation on board. But that is even still an impossibility, really, because given what we have in Nigeria. So they try to, I wish they did this immediately after the 2019 election. You understand? And started this forcefully, because the timing is too short.
Nigerians.
You understand?
You need to have a real change.
You understand? The timing is too short. Even though Nigerians are crying, this, that. The moment, you see, we're a country that when we're going into an election year, we just remove our brain and put it in one place. After the election, we put it back.
And realize
you understand? So really, what he's campaigning for, whether he feels, he has genuine reasons why they should be abandoned, both PDP and the APC. But unfortunately, the country where we find ourselves, that is actually not doable given the time frame. So really, maybe they try to prepare the grounds against that will be 2027 or something. Maybe
after 2023.
After
2027.
Yeah. So, but I mean, given the time frame, it's not obtainable.
Oh my God. Well, on this note, we've come to the end of today's edition of Inside Nigeria. Many thanks to Samaila Musa. Samaila Musa is an Abuja-based public affairs analyst. And to you, our listeners, thank you for listening. Make a date with us tomorrow. My name remains Bode Badibo. Bye-bye for now.